Happens in Hollywood, like directors will team up with a DP or a cinematographer and kind of do a lot of projects with them?
For the most part, I mean, if it's a working relationship that's pretty successful, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's the idea, that everything's going to work out fine. But it doesn't always. I mean, there's numerous films that there's a big clash between the director and the cinematographer. Because, I mean, it's the director's vision, and the cinematographer knows that, might think that what they're doing is wrong. And so there's, you know, and that happens where they just won't speak. It's just like, okay, well, we're going to do the job and that's it.
Oh, really?
And,
yeah.
You know, but there are, like, throughout cinematic history, there are, like, really well-known directors, cinematographer teams that do really good jobs, that tell really good stories, and you can see it. You can see in the end product.
It shows.
Like,
right.
yeah, it totally shows.
Well, we're going to actually show a clip now of the film that you two worked on, Louis and Armando. Louis, you want to set this up for us a little?
Yeah, actually, the clip that you're going to watch right now is from the film that Armando and I worked on, titled Edgar, that Alex actually wrote.
Oh, okay.
And the clip right now should be of the first time that the main actor, which no name, we refer to him as just a young man because we wanted to have him an overall consensus, like this could be anybody really. He's going to be brought into the room and meet the mother of the guy he killed, actually, and this will be the first time that they're actually meeting.
Okay.
And actually, when you watch it, it's actually the first time the main actors met each other.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that after the clip a little bit. So, let's take a look. Tense. Louis, can you put that in context a little bit? What's the overall film about?
Well, the overall film is basically a mother confronting her son's killer, and she's given this opportunity by the prison counselor that has most prisons offer victim services that allow a process for the victims' families to overcome their grief. So the mother, Anna, is brought in by Debbie, the counselor, to confront her son's killer for the very first time. And in a sense, she's told to write a letter to vent her frustration or just say whatever she has to say. Because in a sense, she has to forgive herself, and this is a process, sort of like a 12-step type scenario. And as she's looking at this young man, she starts noticing similarities between her son and him, and it sort of becomes like a mother's initial motherly react, like what do you say, mother's
like confronting almost seeing her own son and the person who killed her son.
Right.
And so
so she has that conflict.
Yeah, it's a conflict of seeing this person who's committed this great crime and it's taken her son's life. At the same time, she's seeing that this is a child, someone's child, and that there's some mother out there who's hurting as well as she is. And you know, the young man himself knows this. He's very much aware that the roles could have been reversed. His mom could have been sitting across from this woman's son, and having this very same conversation between them. So ultimately it could be any mother, any child, but it so happens to be this moment, these people, and ultimately it's that moment where someone can either forgive or hold that anger much longer, you know.
And it's a conflict within the mother, Anna, the main character, because it's like she knows it's hard for her to separate her son, this young man, from being the killer of her son, and being like her son in general. So it's like, how do you separate the two? Because she could be yelling at her, it's like almost yelling at her son, like a mother constantly being repetitive. And that's where actually her own forgiveness comes into play, because she felt that she was responsible for her son's death in some way. And even though she had no direct connection, a mother really, in a sense, never always feels that they could have done more. And that's where she's torn in here, that she believes that she could have done more. And as the story progresses, you start seeing this conflict starting to unravel itself.
Oh, so this is pretty lighthearted. Alex, where did you get the idea for this story? This is great.
Well, this is just where I grew up, like on the west side of Chicago, you get a lot of scenarios like these with a lot of young men that are in positions of either being killed or killing someone. And I've seen a lot of mothers in positions where they've had to deal with that. So it's certainly you hear these stories and you deal with them. And I was talking with Lewis, and he wanted to do a project. He just got out of college, and we were just tossing a few ideas around, and it was just, we really couldn't think of something that we wanted to do something that we really would feel strongly about. And this was a scenario that I really felt that it kind of just came up while we were just talking, and I think there was a story I had read maybe around that time where there was a shooting in some like little fast food place, and we talked about it, and it kind of grew from there, and we realized we were just talking about the shooting actually, and then when we stopped, we kind of had this moment just thinking about it, and I turned to Lewis. I'm like, you should probably do something like about this in this scenario, and he liked the idea we're coming up with, and that's how we came with it. Yeah,
to create like an alternate perspective of a character that most people just automatically vilify, like just in general, like they can't connect with this person because they see that he's a killer. So that's the story that we wanted to tell, was something more than that. Like, what you just see a killer, but we see a human being. There isn't no black and white. This is just, there's more multi-levels to it. Like, it's a son, as Alex was saying. It's a brother. So it could be it's a father. It's like multi-layers for that. And I mean, overall, we wanted to condense this movie, because the initial reaction when I came up to him was to do it for a competition, a reality TV show that's going to air sometime in the spring on Fox, titled On the Lot, produced by Steven Spielberg. So we wanted to overall create the story, but it's kind of hard to create a dramatic story in 5 minutes. So Alex did a great job we had to keep going back and forth, sending each other notes as far as maintain the same dramatic beats, but within a shorter period of time. So overall, with Alex's help and the editor, Kat Thomas.
And you brought Armando in on it?
And Armando was a huge help, because as we were going over it, he brought in more aspects of the story that we pretty much we couldn't step ourselves, because we outside ourselves, because Alex and I saw this one way, and Armando brought this another level that we should look at it maybe from this perspective.
Wow, great.
So.
Yeah. And the competition is in the spring?
Yes.
Okay. Have you submitted it already?
Actually, I'm going to submit it within a week, but actually there should be a website that will probably be flashing across right now.
There it is. All right, well, we're going to take a look at 2 more clips back to back here. And this is the title of the film.